Started?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome all. We can do the minutes after Dennis. I just thought, Dennis, that we might bring you up to date about the assistance that the county has, whether we had gone with municipal or going with consolidated. And one thing that might be important is legal help. They will not, from my understanding, they will not pay the town's attorney, but they have attorneys that particularly have experience in broadband.
Who we're talking about, the county?
This is the main the grant that we got $10,000
Yes.
in terms of what we can allocate it to. And so we've been on a couple of calls with Maine Connectivity Authority, which gave us that money. And one thing that you might want to look at is looking over the contracts, whether you want to substitute their attorneys that they would recommend for broadband, versus spending money on the town's attorney. That's one. One thing that we would probably want to talk about after, I also wanted to know about where things are at with Simon. I lose track of the timeline of his getting back to you. Evan keeps this better than I do, but when we have to start, when we can start moving on some of this assistance.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him recently, so.
Okay.
I don't know whether on that. I do know we did get the money. The money's in hand.
From the connectivity authority.
Connectivity, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been transferred, so we do have that. But I haven't heard from Simon. I sent him the letter
That he
that
wanted.
everybody wanted.
Well, he was gonna estimate the build out, wasn't he? Wasn't that the next step or not?
I'm not sure. I was gonna suggest he call Bill or anybody else and see what exact info that they wanted. Because that's what I was anticipating last time, was what info do they want?
Right. It'd be nice to get it on the agenda for a vote, the next meeting, if there's
Still
enough,
time.
if there's enough information
Yeah,
for a vote.
give me something. There's still time.
Okay.
Have something by Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening.
In terms of what Simon's gonna provide. He's also juggling what his best bet is for the combination of towns and what will give him the most advantage, the most advantage for a competitive proposal. So anyway, that's one thing that this grant can cover. We may want to think about, as part of that negotiation, whether we want to talk to Consolidated about any kind of rate lock in terms of affordability after the first year. And
Did he indicate a willingness to do that?
he's working, yeah, but there's a quid pro quo here that we found out with Kendra Joe, because basically I asked her about it and she said, really, the only place they've seen it was Bangor trying to do that. But there was some negotiation that's been happening with the town putting up some of the subsidy money or tacking on an additional fee to pay for the affordability. This is in place because initially there will be grant money for inclusion of getting, people that can't afford it, but that money's going to disappear. So that's why Bangor, I gather, is trying to negotiate something.
Yeah, but didn't Simon at the last select board meeting that he was here, didn't he say he was negotiating with somebody?
Yeah, Bangor.
I thought he had said they were.
Yeah, they were. According to Kendra Joe, it didn't sound like it had been resolved yet, but it wasn't just like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's something that they're keeping quiet.
yeah, but that is
Well,
something.
they don't want everybody.
So then we heard back.
It'd be hard to keep that quiet.
Yeah, so then we heard back door, I think the terms were keeping the 1 year rate locks and going into year 2, 3, maybe longer than that, maybe up to 5 or something. I
But
think that's what she said.
this is another area where it'd be helpful to have an attorney that's possibly more versed in broadband. to represent us or to negotiate. Let's see, what else?
What are the steps though? Does Consolidated decide what towns he wants to put together first? And
They're gonna go with whoever comes up with money. Pretty much.
And so that's,
Has Woolwich come up with money or?
They're all planning on it. I think Dresden's done. They already had money that they didn't need.
and Woolwich went to the maximum 150, right? Per,
That's what they haven't made any concrete decisions, I don't think.
so that's another issue for Wiscasset. Maximum or the minimum required to be competitive? I don't know if you have any insight.
We have the money, it's just a matter of getting the voters to approve it. If the maximum is whatever it is, what were we at, 183 or
Yeah,
something, something
like
like that? I mean, you know, we have the funds, we just need to get the approval to spend them, that's all. And if you're gonna do it, I would think you would go for it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the leverage that you're getting from Consolidated and the state would be huge on this. So, you know, you might as well position as well as we can for that money. But, so that, I mean, that's just another decision that would have to come up with.
what's the deadline on this now?
So we don't have one yet. They have a meeting, I think it's on the 22nd. And then supposedly that's when they're going to set a date for the summer.
This is MCA, this is the
Yeah.
authority, yeah.
And so hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll have a firmer date.
Okay, because that would play in, you know, if we could get it on the June ballot.
Yeah, that's kind of what the state's heard from. It's to push it back to a normal town meeting schedule, so.
I think they're probably hearing that from a lot of other towns, so let's coordinate this with our town meetings better.
Yeah. They will also help with outreach. At first I thought, you know, this committee is going to have to do a lot of that. And when I wrote the application to MCA, that was a heavy piece of what I thought we'd spend money on. There's less work to do, given that Consolidated, I mean, it will be their system, so they're going to have to do a lot of it. But it doesn't hurt to have the extra help with messaging this for Wiscasset. So they are hiring a couple of consultants. And the guy that probably will work with Wiscasset is Dan Demerit, who's been a communications person. He was in the LePage administration. He went to UMaine Orono. I think he has his own consulting right now. So, you know, he's seasoned, and I don't know, he obviously must know something about broadband to be able, or will become very familiar with broadband to be able to do it. But that is also, it will come out of our allocation of 10,000, but that's another area that's probably well spent to at least stuff on the website, good explanations of what's coming, stuff like that.
They have 4 meetings between 14th and the 24th, so between different committees they have, so hopefully we'll have,
You're talking about MCA.
firmer date of.
Yeah. We were on the call a couple of days ago, and the one ask that I think the woman, Kendra Joe, who is managing this process, asked Simon what he needed. And he said the biggest thing was a digital equity partner, because that is part of this whole thing, that you build it out everywhere and you help people with affordability and getting devices if they don't have them. And we thought we were going to have to play a bigger role in that, because when we wrote the initial planning grants, the county wasn't as involved with this. But there's a lot of money coming down for digital equity, and it's going to go through Lincoln County Regional Planning. You're on that board, right?
Yes,
So,
I have been to maybe 2 meetings since I've been on the board.
yeah. Well, I mean, Mary Ellen's going to be the linchpin for that. It's Saginaw, Lincoln and Knox, I think, that she has the territory for.
Yep.
And they're getting money for that, and they're going to be working on a plan. So it makes no sense for us to try to do our own plan. It's going to happen at the regional level. it does raise some questions about the money that we already got to do this that's not spent. And I've been trying to get the woman at Island Institute who gave us the $7,500 match to tell us whether we can match, used part of her funds to match what we've already spent. You know, like 3,500. I don't know, I doubt she'd let us, I doubt they'd let us substitute their money for the town ARPA money that we put up, but who knows? A lot of places don't want to deal with taking money back, which is, I don't know where they're at, but she has not gotten back to me, so I'm gonna have to call her and remind her to get more information on that. But we're sitting with $7,500 unspent from that, 500 from the original ARPA allocation unspent, and then we've got this 10,000 from Connectivity Authority.
That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah,
I wish I had that in other areas.
yeah, no, I know. So there's been some question here whether some of that money could be reshuffled so that you could put it into the match instead. But I don't know how viable that's going to be. I don't think that's true of unspent Connectivity Authority money, you know, in terms of that flexibility. But so I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. But I mean, that's basically what I've gleaned from the couple of sessions I've had with MCA. Did you have anything else particularly?
Nothing to add. I think Westport is probably gonna be in that group too. That we haven't brought up. I don't know where they're at, but
Have you heard anything recently or?
I think that they're gonna move to do 150 per passing, which will be really interesting. So we'll see what happens.
And they still have Spectrum building out their cable mix?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And then
interesting.
they'll just be caught up with everybody. And then I don't know the other, yeah, so,
How about Edgerton? They only had one person on their select board last year.
yeah, I don't know how well they're doing. Hard to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know about so the original group that we've been working with, the Woolwich, Dresden, Wiscasset group, some Bath people that live in the north and south end of Bath were in the meeting with us the other day about the Get Ready grant. So those are kind of who we're probably gonna get packaged with.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's really any movement with any of the Booth Bay towns, which isn't a bad thing, honestly,
yeah,
because we would like to have enough money for us to definitely win this time around.
that would be great. The Bath, the dense part of town is covered with another provider. So they're left out, basically. So
if we had
I don't know
a,
why we have to make this more complicated than it needs to be. The state has all this money, just build it,
yeah,
just do it,
the government do the whole thing.
just get it done.
that's the thing, it's not enough money.
I know, but still, they could hit these
Yeah.
unserved and underserved areas and just get it done.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I think Maine's gonna do a lot better than a lot of other states around.
What are you hearing? Because they say we're leaders. Other states just aren't organized with the infrastructure.
Well, I think through the last like 20 years, there's been all these funds like Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, and it was just a handout to increase DSL, cable stuff all over the place. So the majority of the money in other states is just going to all the cable companies. So I think
Don't tell us to do that.
yeah, I think we're gonna leapfrog a lot of people. I mean,
All right, I gotta get your budget books done.
Okay, so thank you. I just wanted to
Yeah, no
update you.
problem.
And if
Stay in
you,
touch.
and if you hear anything from Simon, that would be nice to know.
I will, I'll see if I can rattle his cage a little.
Yeah, that would be great.
yeah.
And move him along.
Great.
What's a deadline for us to put a write-up for the town report?
The town report itself, I think it's April,
Okay,
because we don't get them until
Yeah.
May.
cool. We want to definitely put in a committee.
You got time for that. The budget itself, we need everything in by March 31st. So if there's gonna be something on the warrant for this, we've gotta have it by March 31st.
Got it.
Okay?
Great, thanks, Jim.
Sounds good.
So do we have other stuff to talk about?
Well, we can approve the minutes.
Yeah, we could certainly do that. A motion to approve the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
A second.
Okay,
whatever
all in
date.
favor? Aye. And I think,
We have the date on what that was.
I think it was the 5th, maybe?
January
no.
19th.
Oh, 19th. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, 19th.
So March 31st.
Budget
Is that what I said?
deadline.
Yeah,
Deadline for the warrant article.
Yeah, for warrant.
yeah.
Didn't seem like he was interested in doing ARPA. Or I don't know if he forgot.
Well, he probably wouldn't have enough money with 183. If we go for that, he seems
Yeah.
amenable to doing that though, which would
That's
make
what I was
it.
about to ask.
I
Was
think-
it
I think
100 from us and 100 from the county count towards that? No,
What?
183.
Yeah, and then that includes, and then with the other 100, would be the 283.
Oh, 283. is that-
Yeah,
That's what
But
we,
we'd have to put up 100,
to get the 100. If we put up at 183, we get the 100.
or we could put 90 something. Up.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
We're not trying to get to 180, we're trying to get to 283.
Oh, 283, yeah, that's right.
So we were just talking
283.
about
I was
the
just
town.
thinking in terms of,
Yeah.
100 being a lot more feasible than to the town voting, we have to have the town voting
Yeah,
than 183.
yeah. Well, that's why I think we should still gun to try and get the remaining ARPA funds. And then whatever goes onto the budget warrant, the warrant article, that would be the difference. So then if we end
To
up,
pull it down a little.
right, so then if for whatever reason there's resistance, then we can turn around and still have 50 and still not be completely out.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
How much education do you think is going to be needed, given the price tags way down for people to vote for this?
It depends on if there's any, if it goes ahead, we really have to consider, I mean, if Bill's in support of it, I think that will at least that would be helpful to some faction.
And they have a 5-0 vote
Yeah.
here.
And
Will it
there's-
get a 5-0 vote from the budget committee? Do you
Good
think?
question.
It's very difficult to say.
If we walk in and said, the only,
I think I can, I mean,
we really need to start, we need to.
sent them some nice emails and I really like his point where he's saying, where do you get 55 to 1 return on your money?
Right,
Tom said that?
that's
No,
what,
that's what he said to the budget committee.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, you went to the budget.
no, this was some emails we
They were asking
discussed it
questions.
about, whatever, about a month ago.
Yeah, they were asking questions, because I had given them the
But
information.
there's some people, I mean, where's Kim at? Is she still like, why bother? Because I got cable at a
I
decent
think it
price.
was when we were like, hey, here's the price tag from Muni, and then it was like, here's price tag to still get the same end result. She was much more amenable to that,
Right,
and I think most people were.
I think so.
So hopefully, and then if, we also have to say, hey, this is what the little hamlet of Dresden is doing. This is what Woolwich is doing, this is what Westport is doing, this is what the edges of Bath are doing. So, and then you can just go Newcastle, Damerscott, Jefferson, Noblesboro, South Bristol, Bristol. And half of Alma, so just come on down in. So just have to advertise to people like, hey, that's also, you're putting yourself on an island again.
Mhm.
That's something we gotta rally up.
Who else is on the budget?
Well, we also have this guy here. Might vote against it because he's not getting his municipal.
Yeah, it's true. How much popular opposition that could be.
Or he may abstain, who knows? I doubt he'd vote for it. Yeah, that's a good point.
So we have to take him to the backyard and beat him up.
Figuratively,
So
obviously.
get him recorded.
So conceivably, meeting with a communications person would be good for us. The more they can accelerate that from MCA would probably be
Yeah.
good.
I want to believe they're probably just gonna tell us how to organize. I don't know how much.
And Simon, I mean, he's up against this too. If they're doing this all over the state, and this is an area that already has cable, so what's your experience here, you know?
So when is he
Consolidated.
gonna get back to us that we're included in whatever he's gonna present?
It's all, soon as there's money. They're gonna have this, they're gonna have every scenario blocked off, and then if it gets down to the last, week, days, and there hasn't been approval of money, then
So we have to decide on the money first.
put, right, and until next week. We don't know until whatever, the next, less than 2 weeks, hopefully. I think Kendra Joe mentioned it would occur during the executive committee meeting, which I think is on Tuesday. We'll hopefully know the date, because the date could still be they could still have the date be pre our budget cycle.
Yeah, I know.
That could still happen.
Even if it runs on the budget cycle,
Right.
you need some time to.
Right, and the worst part would be if it was to be, if it was like July, if it was like, because like our thing is June, whatever, it'll be,
So who's gonna come out, you know?
well, no, it's not only that, but it's just like we're running up, we're running up to like possibly 2 weeks if it's in July. You know what I'm saying? If it's like, if the vote is 2 weeks before, and then we have to have a contingent letter of application to the county ready, like all that stuff can happen, but it's just like part of the planning, so I don't know, we'll know by next meeting, and we should just plan to. I mean, we can put in a grant ask of, $283,000. Could even make it 283,500, just to be a round number, or 183,500.
Right,
That's our goal.
and 100K from you. And we have to coordinate with the county to make sure we get that too.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, so. If they have the grant window, because all these other towns that they're like, yeah, we can bend for them, they all meet in March and April and stuff, nobody else meets in June. Very few people do.
Well, we should probably have,
We still might be looking at a special town meeting, even though that would be unpopular.
we should probably take a look at that application for the county. It's probably pretty
No,
straightforward.
that's super straightforward, it just amounts to,
Do you have the match or not?
yeah,
Is that what it
that's
is?
essentially all it is, yeah, that's almost all of these, yeah. Because I've seen it, and they just changed the date for whatever, so. They've given out a couple 100,000, I think. Something like that.
It might be everybody comes at once, but
Nah, there's not enough people left. Because they did South Bristol, or Bristol's not gonna come, Bremen asked for 5,000. Some very small amount.
maybe they should give us even more.
Yeah, right. Newcastle 60, South Bristol 80, Noblesboro, I think it was 50. And then Jefferson's not gonna ask, I think they might give something to Somerville, 20 maybe. They might have given a little thing to Mohegan, so after that,
If Booth
Yeah,
Bay,
it's-
if that
yeah.
peninsula is not doing anything, then-
they need, they're in the same thing, so. We haven't heard anything, Mary Ellen hasn't heard anything, I've been lightly paying attention. Cause. Yeah, I don't know. Cause that one was more pushed by Consolidated, I think.
Booth Bay.
Right, because their committees in town, they have like a former committee that didn't meet on a regular schedule still, but. Yeah, no.
Some of Booth Bay has LCI.
Yeah, I think it's a substantial amount.
What about Edgecombe?
They've got some on River Road. You know where River Road is? Yeah,
For LCI?
yeah, they've got some of, that was extended down that way.
Oh, but I thought they wanted to get in on consolidated.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they were part of this Blue Bay group that's all pretty much non-committal, and then now they've got 1 or 2 selectmen. I think they've got 2 until April, maybe, I don't know.
Who else? When I talked to Amy, it was one, I thought.
I think the other guy might still be on until they have their other special election or whatever,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, kind of some moving parts here. Any other words of planning or wisdom?
Just, I don't know. That pretty much catches us up. I'm gonna pay attention. I'm waiting for them to put a agenda on for Tuesday on the website. They still haven't done that. It's Tuesday at 2 o'clock. There's a meeting is for the MCA Executive Committee.
Oh, Tuesday meeting.
Tuesday for the executive committee, they've got a Wednesday for their last mile infrastructure grants committee, which is probably to talk about the conditional grants that were approved or something, probably updates.
Mhm.
On the 22nd, they have an interagency working group meeting, which probably isn't anything, and then a full February board meeting on the 24th. So that should probably either the executive committee or the board meeting, they should make a date or a schedule. And if not, then that just means we're more and more likely to be okay with timing for a regular town meeting
Mhm.
vote.
And we may be pushed out anyway. I mean, there's not a lot of money here, so, I mean, I guess we have to apply anyway, but conceivably, it may cycle over to the other money, the BEAD money.
So what happens if we apply and Consolidated doesn't accept us? Are we still in there?
They apply,
Could they
we
apply?
partner with them, they do the application.
Oh,
Yeah. So as long as we come up with something. And I don't know where that kind of line is between what is, what's a nominal, where does an actual commitment go from a nominal thing to a serious consideration? I don't know what the line is. But I think, worst case scenario, we get them to put up the remainder of the ARPA money, and that can be matched, and then that's 100,000, which isn't a terrible amount, but it's better than nothing. But yeah, to your point, I would prefer it would be a special town meeting.
do we prefer?
Yeah. Yep. So we just want to get it done.
And we don't want to sell.
How much does it cost to do a special town meeting, do you know?
Bucks maybe,
I'm sorry,
a couple $100, if that,
that's it, that's all?
can't do anything. They don't have to do anything for it.
They have to advertise.
Yeah, so just do.
No, that's nothing. Couldn't that come out of our grant budget?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's not the
it's not the financial aspect of it, it's just the political aspect of it. Because they don't want to vote, they're not gonna want to vote to do that unless the timeline doesn't work.
Mm.
And that's pretty much unanimous amongst most boards, is they don't want to do a special town meeting, even if they have whatever. Because I think they have whatever, they have their unexpended fund balance, which isn't even a part of, it's not money, I don't have any idea, but I don't think it's money that's in any investment accounts. I think it's much more accessible.
Okay, well,
Also, I think the last time I emailed you, Simon didn't know whether or not why he didn't get the other grants that he applied for. He said he was gonna be
Oh, yeah.
checking with them.
Yep, I think they're, I don't know when they're all doing that, but I think it just came down to wanting a financial commitment, most likely.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
they might want to spread it out to different projects too. I mean,
Yeah,
municipal, it is a priority, point wise, that they'd probably want to spread it out. But he had some of the bigger ones.
yeah, they got the two biggest. I think like half of the households that were awarded are gonna be under a consolidated project. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I think we should plan on doing a write-up for the town report. Let's keep a sharp eye out for when the window dates come out. We'll have that put together. Dennis says he's gonna reach out to Simon, but I think we will too. And then our warrant article ask is gonna be 183 or less, depending on if the board votes to appropriate ARPA funds for us.
Be nice to get up under 150.
Yeah. I agree. So if they had all the ARPA funds, that would probably be like 143 or 140 or something like that.
Well, I might be, what would I say?
So then, and then we can,
The streetlights could save 18,000.
yeah, a year.
No, 18,000 not spent on the 75,000 that they allocated
Oh,
with the ARPA funds.
gotcha.
It's good.
So all we would need is matching of that, and let's say we ended up with 40, that would be under the 150.
Yep. Then, so yeah, we should plan on. We could go to the budget committee without having a final number and then just give them a presentation in a couple windows, just to give them an update. Just under the premise that it's a lot of detail and information and yada yada. One thing I was thinking about earlier is we need to make sure that someone's not going to try and use a tactic like we didn't put this out to bid as a way to shut it down.
Oh, who's gonna do,
But we
how
don't,
would they present that?
I don't know.
But there is, we don't have an alternative. Nobody
well,
else is-
it would be apples and oranges. Somebody
Right.
said putting it out
Yeah,
to
we went-
bid, who else?
Yeah, do you wanna spend 2.6 million?
Right, so I think if we have the, right, and I think if we have the date for the grant window, if that becomes a hurdle, then we can quickly put something out to gauge interest if we need to.
And that should be, and if we had to go to, well, it sounds like we'll have to go to a warrant article at some point. But that should be in there, that we had explained that we had two options. Go municipal, that would cost
Yeah.
us 2.6 million, or this only costs us.
Do you put that in the warrant article, all those
No.
decision making? That would be that possibly could be in the report to the
This
town.
is just part of the.
No, we
vote
can
to put
hand
it-
that out at a special meeting, if we have a special meeting.
Yeah, if we have a special meeting, we also just want to make sure we know everybody there.
Or could we hand that out, when they vote for a regular meeting? As people come in?
It'll be part of the discussion, I think. We could,
You don't want to confuse them too much with these different options when they're about to vote.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've had that with
No, but when
education.
the
with
person goes
education.
in to vote,
Huh?
when the person goes in to vote, they don't have any detail on the warrant article.
sometimes there's a little bit of.
So we could give them,
It would at least say, this grant is to hopefully bring in $5 million of infrastructure.
right,
That part most likely would be on there, I think.
but could we make a suggestion as to how to write the warrant article?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Sure.
but what else do you think it should have?
No, what I'm saying is educate people even more, let's say that we have a special meeting. We can hand out the report that's in the town report, to individuals, so they have, when they go to vote, they have that in hand, and that report could have, we looked at 2 different options and one included
Yep,
2.6
Is
million.
the report being, the report on the committee, right?
The report on the committee that's gonna be in the annual.
Yeah, yeah, you could put it in there. I thought you meant in terms of describing the warrant.
Well, originally I was, but I was just thinking of another way to do it.
Yeah, no, that's where I would put it. You know, the committee worked diligently to look at options and.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, people don't look at it, we should, could we? hand it
yeah,
out
we
before the
might
meeting?
we might try and have a public hearing.
Oh,
But-
Yeah, I think we should have a public hearing.
And people have drummed about that for other things before that. Hey Kathy,
Where's Dennis?
I don't know. Because there have been people that have asked for that pre-town meeting, they have a public hearing. So people can hear about some of the oddball things, like last year would have been the waterfront thing, and so there could have been
Oh, yeah, I think we
more
definitely,
detail given.
I think we definitely need some of that for communication and more education in general.
But I don't know if it helps us or if it gets anybody out there, so,
but how many people will show up for it?
right, exactly. So,
Bad enough to get people to show up for a special meeting.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's all on us either. Consolidated has to put out some resources for passing this too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna put out anything.
Well, I mean, time, appearances at public meetings, things like that. If this is gonna fly, you would think they would have to show up.
I don't think they care. If you can't come up with, if you can't simply come up with, I mean, yeah, they probably, if you invite them, yeah, they probably show up and answer some questions, but I don't think it benefits. I don't think it's good for us to bring them in at all. That's my quick gut reaction.
Because it's another monopoly.
Well, no, it's just, it has nothing to do with that, it's just, okay. Sooner or later, the more attention you bring to yourself, the more questions people start asking. Slash, it's also consolidated and we need to keep stressing the city,
Yeah,
even though the corporate name is consolidated, same thing.
well, that's why they went to Kitty.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know, what's it, but ends up, at the end of the day, you need to get all your friends that you know to show up and vote for this thing. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much education you do.
Yeah, that's probably true. And if the select board is on board with it, at least 4 out of 5,
Yeah,
the constituencies there,
And the budget committee.
and the budget committee, that should help.
yeah, if it goes down like a normal,
Normal
if
expenditure.
it's like a 4-1, and then it's how many people do they have on the, supposed to have 9, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we only have 6.
On the budget committee.
So we should find 3 more.
There you go.
Are you
I've been on it, I'm not into doing it right now, but yeah,
where are you at with Mary Ellen on the work? with her?
she put together a proposition for Carrie to look at this week. I think they're meeting today if they haven't already.
It's good.
So then I'll do more of this stuff, but for other people, we'll see.
20 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
Great.
She's gonna basically do half of the area that we have, and it won't necessarily be here nor there, but it's just like, most of these places already have
Right.
a situation. I don't know what Warren's doing, and then I've had a few emails with the Waldeboro people, and they're kind of,
They're not moving on anything?
no, they're just they're in between a rock and a hard place in the worst way.
That's too bad. I thought they had some leadership there.
It's not that, it's just, it's consolidated dialect, and they have spectrum, so same situations as here, they have a few more unserved, but they have a little bit of concentration of LCI downtown, and they have a little bit of it on the north side of town, so consolidated has basically said they're not gonna even express interest in doing anything there at all.
Because of LCI.
Because they're already there, they're like, yeah, whatever, we're not Cause they've got, you know, green pastures they could get into first, and then if it's, you know, 3.5 years from now and they haven't, and LT hasn't done anything else, I think that's a different situation, but, so I think you'll get a laugh at this, and just to show this, I think one of the most important communication aspects is just to craft a narrative of what every other town has done. And this is a much better situation in comparison, and I think LCI, last I talked to the Waldeboro people, that LCI told them they would like to see them bond out 1.4 million. And then I asked if that was if that was gonna be recouped by the town, or if they were gonna add a fee in to pay back the town thing, and I haven't heard back yet. So if you think 183,000 is bad, try 1.4 just for.
Giving them money, yeah.
Right, and I can't, and that's all, I'm just paraphrasing, I don't know if that's correct or not. But, so that's their rock in a hard place,
I see,
if you agree that that's,
I see it. You've said this before, and I haven't internalized it before.
How about the Dustin?
and that, well, that's the thing, is that, you know, the LCI people, the last time I met with them, they said that, oh, we've got big plans for Dresden and for Wisconsin, and it's just like,
Really?
yeah, and it's just like they've always been a lot of talk, and it's just like, hey, these things are moving right along, so if I was, you know, if Consolidated goes and says, we're not knocking on any doors, but I'm like, if I was LCI, I would have been knocking.
Yeah.
But they also don't come with any information. We got more information from 20 minutes with Simon than I've seen out of LCI in 2 years. In dozens of meetings, and they come and they basically want the town to pay for the whole darn thing, and you still get nothing, so the fact that this is,
Yeah, this is a good deal.
It's
in
way better.
comparison.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is the frustrating thing when, like, they don't even know, the towns that put in here, Newcastle, South Bristol, and Noblesboro, don't even know if they're gonna get their, line extension grants, so still waiting on that, and that only hooks up half the town. It's half of the town hooked up to fiber. I think it erases everybody that's unserved that doesn't have cable or,
The line extension also means fiber to the home.
yeah.
Okay.
I think that, cable companies could apply for line extension money, but I have no idea. So that'll come, that might be what they're meeting on, the last mile grant committee, actually. That might be discussed, so that'll be exciting too.
So, do we need anything else for the official recording, or are we done on that?
I think we're good.
Okay, so did you turn it off?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Motion, okay.
On to
Favor? 3 in favor?
319.